So one of the most important gifts to possess in the 21st century is to be able to bring people together. Real Movement has done quite a good job of that, trying to manifest that through group activities, through common financial interests, etc. That's been what a lot of my life has been about for the last number of years. There have been massive connections built. I feel as though there's still those two big plays to make. There's a bit more business connection in terms of having more common marketing and such. Not necessarily down that licensed franchise model, but having that commonality of marketing that's running across all the facilities, and people are opting into nationwide kind of campaigns or global campaigns. I think that's where we need to get to. And the other side is to have a viral training system, to have a shareable training system where people actually want to share their results. And this is what CrossFit has, where people get their time and they want to tell their friends. That's a shareable system, and that's why 15,000 facilities change the world. The shareability of CrossFit is probably the number one thing that it has done. So I think there's some different ways that we can do that will be very effective. Some of the ideas are things like singles on the minute for 10 minutes, record your highest rep. Singles on the minute for 10 minutes, record your lowest rep. Very different training stimulus, but both fun. That can be done with threes, that can be done with fives, that can be done with 10s. It doesn't always have to be that gamified thing. It can be simply 20 kilo dumbbell bench press on the minute, and you're aiming for the same number every minute, okay? And then you look to progress that, and then once you can do it with eight for 8 reps, then you work on doing it for 9 reps or for 10 reps on the minute. That can be a way to build progression session to session. That's, I guess, a little bit less gamified, but also less random than CrossFit, So I think we need some of that gamification of CrossFit, but then we need some stability as well. And most CrossFit boxes don't program anything like CrossFit.com, even though CrossFit.com is the reason CrossFit exists, because that worked initially to a large enough extent that all the other stuff grew. Or maybe it didn't, I don't know. I don't know the history that well, but so I think that those kinds of things, and just sort of standardizing our exercise pairings and some of those parameters, it can bring things together, gamify, and that becomes something that the consumer can have awareness of. And then one gym having success will help another gym success. Like, that's the worst thing about what we've done, and the most painful thing for me is that the success of one facility, regardless of how much they've bought into Real Movement, etc., the success of that facility is having pretty much no impact on another facility in the same city, or another hub in a different part of the country, or another facility that's going in another part of the world. If we can do that, then we can do something, we can change the world. So the philosophy of Real Movement has stuck. It's good. There's something powerful there. But then if we can systemize that training system, and then the belts and the decathlon, together with those in-workout things, like that's something. And then we can market that, then we can tell stories around that, and we can collectively tell stories, and we can share each other's stories. But if we have that thing to share stories about, maybe that's what's going to make all the difference. So it's my hypothesis. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. I'm putting some time into this. There needs to be some value attached to it, and obviously, brand loyalty and that sort of stuff that we're trying to create from the consumer side. That also needs to be there from the coaches side for this thing to grow, to have the impact that we want it to have. Hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I don't think I will publish it as a podcast, but would love to hear your feedback on that as well. Talk to you soon. Keegan, Real Movement. Love your work.